So I bought a Christmas present for my wife. I love buying presents for my wife. It's really wonderful. It just, makes life so much better. Anyway, as you can see, I am all bundled up, and that is because it's about 16 degrees here. Could really use some warmer weather here in Texas. But in either case, 16 degrees, we're all bundled up, but we got stuff to do. And the most important thing we have to do right now is talk about this guy. This is our new box blade. So this tractor is kind of big. One of the downsides of having a large tractor is that if you want to put a box blade on the back end of it, you'd really like that blade to at least be as big as the tractor. And this tractor is 7 feet wide, unlike some of the smaller compact tractors that are going to be 6 feet, maybe 5 feet. So that presents kind of a problem in and of itself. You got to look for at least a 7 foot, if not an 8 foot box blade. And then you also have the issue of this thing is pretty big and heavy. This weighs about 10,000 pounds. And if you put just a, very normal box blade on here, if the box blade hits something while you're going along, this thing is powerful enough to just tear it apart. So you really got to look for kind of a beefy, big box blade for a tractor this size. And that's what this guy is. Now, I ordered this about 4 months ago, and the reason I had to do that was because it took them 4 months to build it. I guess they're backed up in production or whatever it may be. But this is the Everything Attachments box blade rated for 120 horsepower tractors. And it is heavy. It is a beast. The biggest, heaviest box blade that I could find locally was about 900 pounds in an 8 foot box blade. This is an 8 foot box blade, and this thing weighs closer to 1,400 pounds. So a lot heavier, a lot more steel in it, and it's just, big, bulky, and monstrous. Our Scarfisser teeth here we'll talk about in a minute. We got a lot to talk about with the different pieces of it, so let's get going. So one of the biggest reasons I'm making this video now is this is probably the last time this box blade is going to look this clean because, well, the point of it is to move dirt around, so it's going to get very dirty. But this is a pretty cool model. One of the things you'll see immediately on the back of it is that this has a floating tailgate, or at least an optional floating tailgate. Now it comes bolted down, and there's actually, I don't know if we can get under here and see it, maybe, but you can kind of see there's some bolts under there that are holding that together, that are keeping it from floating initially. So if I take those bolts out, then I'll have a floating tailgate. The other thing is, we went for the upgraded edge on this thing. So this edge here, this is what they call their Viper blade. It's a heavier hardened steel. And with that, just should last longer, especially since one of the biggest things I'm going to use this blade for is going to be grading and leveling a driveway when I put that in. So should be good, especially with going through stone and things like that. But you can kind of see, looking around here, this is not your average box blade, right? This is pretty heavy steel. They even doubled up on the skid area on the front side there. The Scarfissers themselves, these guys are 5/8 steel, and I'm told that this is what, AR450 hardened stuff. I guess it's actually called Hardox. So pretty hard stuff. I guess they said that they actually get it from a company out of Illinois, so it's actually American-made Scarfissers, which is tough to find, actually. It's tough to find a lot of this stuff American-made, but this is kind of nice. So this one, you can see the center point here where that's hooked up to. One of the other things that I'll say that I see in my future most likely is a hydraulic top link for this, because trying to move that top link with something this heavy on the back, trying to screw that top link in to change the angle on it is really quite difficult. So I think we're going to probably spring for a hydraulic top link sometime soon. But you can see, just looking around, it's just big and beefy and monstrous. You'll also notice that these edges, and it's kind of maybe a little hard to see in the picture, but these edges are actually curved. And most box blades that you find, the edges are straight. which again, you can get by with straight. There's nothing, you know, terribly, horribly wrong with it, but curved is better. It's going to be better for grabbing the ground and such, and curved is quite a bit more expensive just to go with. So anyway, it's big, it's monstrous. We're going to get it out. We got some stuff to do with our road here. Our road is really a mud mess and has really been pushed up. And we're going to get out today and see if we can't level and take the hump out of the middle of the road with it, which is, you know, a pretty basic nothing project for a blade like this. We got some other stuff coming up in the future that we're going to do, where we're going to be carving out the area for our driveway, getting stone in here and spreading stone. I've also got a whole bunch of ditches and swales that I need to put in that we're going to use it for. So we got a lot of projects in the next year for this thing, so we're going to put it to use. But today, let's at least break it in as much as we can, see if we can get that road leveled out. So back when I bought this tractor, I decided I want a tractor that has a cab, because it gets to be 100 and some degrees out here, and I don't want to try to mow a field for, you know, 12 hours a day in 100-degree heat, just, you know, sweating my tail off. So I got a tractor with a cab because I really wanted air conditioning. But yeah, when it's 16 degrees out like it is today, yeah, pretty ecstatic about having this cab with the heat on. I think this is probably the first time this year that I'm turning the heat on, but nothing beats it. It's pretty great. So if you can at all, buy a tractor with a cab. It's awesome. All right, so this is the road to my ranch. And as you can see, it's a mud mess. Although thankfully recently we've had about a week of weather that has been dry, so I got at least this, you know, half of it over here is decently dry. And this other half over here, yeah, that's full of frozen water right now. So yeah, we're gonna leave that part alone. But what we are gonna do today, or what we're gonna try to do to break in our brand new super fun box blade, is go down the middle of this and see if we can't take that hump out of this side. That hump is high enough, the 4Runner doesn't quite beach on it. You can sometimes, if you don't drive it right with the 4Runner, you can hear one of the skid plates underneath touch that. So we're going to try to take that hump out, and that's going to be useful for both us getting in and out, as well as in probably a couple weeks when we have the cattle show up. They're going to have to get in here with truck and trailer. Having that hump out of there will be very handy. So we'll see if see how the box blade does taking that hump out. All right, so we're going to start nice and slow, see how this goes. Now, I don't really have the best angle on it right now, so the fact that it's getting much of anything at the moment is pretty great. I'm also not using the draft control like I should be. I'm really just kind of letting it sit on the ground and drag. But yeah, it's doing pretty great at taking that hump out. That hump's coming out just fine. Should also mention, I am not in four-wheel drive right now. So that's another thing. Now, as we can see, it stops taking the hump out real well, and that is because I did not have it down all the way. So let's fix that. Go down completely. It's doing a nice job. Dirt's coming up, turning over, really getting stuck, especially in that one side. That's making a nice flat spot in the middle there. That's pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty great. right, so what we're gonna do is, we got a lot of dirt up in that box right now. I mean, not a lot, we could certainly get more. But I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see how well it pushes backwards. So let's lift it up. I'm gonna go forward a little. Alright, so I'm gonna bring it down, not really touching, but just sort of almost touching the ground, not quite, just a little bit up. And what I'm gonna try to do, let's see if I can't use that to push that dirt out, something resembling level-ish. Alright, a little thicker I think than I intended, but it'll do. Yeah, that'll do just fine. That's pretty good, takes that hump out real nicely. So, let's keep going. And look at that, we finally found the spot where apparently I'm going to need to switch to four-wheel drive because my tires are spinning. So let's do that. Alright, four-wheel drive, here we go. Let's see if this does any better. And we're moving again. Well, that worked pretty well. Took the hump out nicely just in one pass. So I'm going to be making a few more passes, do a bit more out here. It's a lot easier to do that when I'm not holding the camera, so probably won't video that part. But in either case, box blade's pretty great, and we'll have more to show with it as we do some of our other projects. Certainly once it gets warmer. My desire to cut ditches and level ground is somewhat decreased when it's 16 degrees outside. So yeah, so lots more work for the box blade in the future, and we'll see you later.